It is official. If you live in the city of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson wants to increase your property taxes.
That decision is a huge reversal on a campaign promise that helped him make it to the 5th floor of City Hall.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson raising personal property taxes to raise $300 million of the $1 billion budget shortfall in the city of Chicago. Now, I got a question. What do you think the budget shortfall comes from? I'll give you one guess. I think everybody knows what it is. Whether you live in Chicago, whether you not living in Chicago, I think we all know that the migrant crisis is the reason why we have the budget shortfall. Because think about it. New York City, what happened with the migrant crisis? They had to cut city resources 5%. You got to cut cops from the budget. You got to do all this, that, and the third to pay for it. Yes, there is some federal money. So you and I pay for what's happening in Chicago, Denver, New York, etc. We pay for that as Americans. However, it's not just our money from the federales. It's their money locally. And again, they have a $1 billion budget shortfall. Maybe the federal money isn't enough. But one thing I got to say here is, if you're going to invest in people, then why are we investing in the migrants and not those who actually are American citizens? What's really going on? I'm not saying we should get a handout, but if we don't get a handout as citizens, then they shouldn't either, especially when it comes from our money. Now, before I go any further, let's get into a city council meeting, shall we? This is really important. I want you to see it. I will link to the full video in the box, but without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
America is coming together and Chicago is coming together. Black, white, it don't matter, because see, we see a common threat. And you all are a common threat to America and Chicago.
I think that you all she's referring to are members of City Hall who are probably right in front of her.
How dare you sit up there and go on TV and say Chicago people are dope when you talking about how you handled the migrant crisis, illegal crisis, when they all in my neighborhood. Now, I can't go across the street and do a simple workout. I'm a trainer. I'm trying to educate the citizens of Chicago, help dads be in the homes, educate them about health, fitness, how it is, and to be healthy with your kids. Eat healthy, work out, do something for the community, and I got to go through all these permits, all these hoops, everything.
So look, okay, she's a trainer trying to go to a park, have a workout, something like this. She's got to jump through hoops and red tape and bureaucracy, all these kind of things to do that, right? She's got to do all that for that because why? She's an American citizen. When it comes to the migrants, let's see what they do, shall we?
I got insurance to go in the park, but then I see illegals down the street from my house with a whole entire restaurant.
What?
I thought I was looking at Donald Trump when he was at McDonald's. They sit up there and had generators on the street, on the sidewalk, generators, and they had a fry machine taking the basket out the oil, putting it on the side, and not only that, they had tables and booths set up like a whole restaurant outside.
Wow. Now, do you think that they have one single permit for an entire restaurant? Look, they drop in fries, they got plates and tables and chairs, generators, loud brrr, all day long. Do you think they have one permit for that? Do you think there was any red tape in the way? And they're being funded by the federales at the same time.
Wow.
I just sit there, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Trays, putting the french fries in, all the smoke in out here, and they serving the people with aprons on outside. Now my taxes done went up. Now they not putting nothing into it. My husband is a retired police. He gave 28 years to this. And now you're going to sit there and talk about we dope and we okay. No, we're not okay with that. We tried to tell you that. Sanctuary cities, we didn't want it, but you blocked that. You all don't believe in democracy. Democracy is out the door. You all believe in dictatorship.
Facts.
But that's okay, because like I said, when Trump, we all for Trump. And we're going to, he's demolishing these sanctuary cities because that's what the American citizens want.
Now, there's more to this, but I will link to it in the box. So shout out to her. Fantastic. Chicago flips red is what her shirt says and what others' shirts say in the audience. So I hope you guys are successful at being able to flip Chicago, maybe even the entire Illinois. Now, there's more. We got to get to Brandon Johnson and this whole budget shortfall of $1 billion. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's economic environment is still very stressful for a lot of us. But with the Fed finally dropping rates, there is no better time than now to put you and your family in a better financial position. If you're a homeowner, American Financing is helping thousands of families just like you who have been putting everyday expenses on credit cards get out from underneath that debt by tapping into their home's equity. American Financing is saving their borrowers over $800 a month on average. $800 a month is like a $10,000 a year raise at work. And it costs $0 to find out just how much you can save. They're closing some in as little as 10 days. If you start today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. There is no better time than now. Turn the situation around. Call American Financing today. That's 866-890-9313. Again, that's 866-890-9313. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Logan. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. And we're back. $1 billion missing from the budget. Budget shortfall. How are they going to make up for it? You got to pay more in taxes, right? Let's go ahead and get into it.
It is official. If you live in the city of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson wants to increase your property taxes.
That decision is a huge reversal on a campaign promise that helped him make it to the 5th floor of City Hall. Our Sabrina Franza is there live now with the details of his plan. Sabrina.
It is a hard pill to swallow and one of the hardest things to convince City Council of. Mayor Brandon Johnson proposing in his 2025 budget a $300 million property tax increase. He says that is the only way to bridge a budget gap that's nearing $1 billion.
It's the only way to pay for the migrants who are taking up all types of resources.
No more disinvestments, no more selling off our public assets. I am saying no to those bad habits.
Mayor Brandon Johnson backtracks on one of his key campaign promises in his second budget address to City Council.
When it came down to either mass layoffs, curbing vital city services, or an increase in property taxes, I would certainly much rather tax the rich.
So let me ask you guys a question. In New York City, the strategy for the migrants was to reduce expenditures in the city. That was the strategy. It wasn't to raise taxes. Maybe they did raise taxes, but from what I saw, they reduced expenditures. He's saying we don't want to reduce expenditures. We're going to tax the rich, which is ridiculous because all you're going to do is tax everybody. Personal property taxes. I mean, come on, man. All you're going to do is tax everyone in the city.
But I did have to make the choice to increase our property taxes.
In his 2025 budget proposal, the mayor is asking City Council to approve $52 million to help connect young people to employment opportunities, $40 million to expand the existing city shelter network to 6,800 beds, $29 million to help households moving from temporary homeless shelters to stable housing, and $2 million to build capacity at 3 new mental health clinics and to respond to mental health emergency calls.
I mean, you're talking about these line item things that don't really matter. The budget shortfall is $1 billion. This right here is not even the 300 you want from the personal property tax.
We will not have layoffs in this budget, and we will still raise more revenue to ensure that we can keep up with our investments.
To balance that budget, Mayor Johnson proposes to, in part, increase property taxes by $300 million, get rid of over 700 full-time jobs that are currently vacant.
I almost thought they weren't going to say that it's Chicago police officers that's most of that, the so-called vacant jobs. So they're just going to cut officers. That's what they're going to do. Fewer officers on the ground.
400 of which are positions within the Chicago Police Department. It's not clear how many are civilian and how many are sworn.
There's no way that we can negotiate on the property tax issue. This is not the time for a substantial property tax increase.
When you're in a community and you're fighting and you come from a marginalized, already disinvested community, and to say, hey, residents, I'm going to raise your taxes, they're going to kill me.
The cuts to CPD, another major concern.
If you're talking about significant cuts to the Chicago Police Department along with the significant property tax increase, I would be a no.
I mean, if it's me and they're raising taxes and cutting police, I'm out of there. If I'm doing well and I got money, or if I'm not doing well and I don't have money, either way, if I'm not doing well and I don't have money, let me come back here. If I'm not doing well and I don't have money, then things are going to become more expensive in the city because of the tax increases. That's going to impact me negatively. If I'm doing well, I got money, I'm going to pay more for everything. That's going to impact me. Plus, not only will I pay more for everything because everybody across the board has to compensate for the price increase, I will pay more in taxes. So, either way, I'm trying to hightail it. I wonder how many people are going to leave as a result of these tax increases. And if those who left are going to be the ones that he was trying to tax from the beginning, which would defeat the entire plan. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Chicago, New York, Denver, etc. A lot of these sanctuary cities. The open borders policy does not help Americans. They say it's for productivity. Really, it's just for the companies to get cheap labor to compete with other companies using cheap labor. And we, the people, we, the citizens, get the bill for the back end expenses that the corporation doesn't pay. They make us pay for all the ancillary stuff. Okay, you got these people, you have these new people in your place. All right, who's going to teach them English? Who's going to teach them how to drive? Who's going to do this, that, and third? All these services, it'll be up to us at the end of the day. So you got a higher tax bill, a higher bill for everything, overall more inflation. It doesn't make sense for anybody. If I was in Chicago right now, I would leave immediately. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Why do you think there's a $1 billion budget shortfall in Chicago? Is it because, I don't know, inflation and labor expenses, or is it the obvious, the migrants, the same as it is in New York City? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. That the migrant crisis, as I've said for a while, is the biggest issue of the campaign of the 2024 presidential election. It's the biggest issue. There's nothing bigger. It impacts us in so many different ways. This right here, the $1 billion you just don't have in the budget, I think that is a representation of just how much this impacts us. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.